Welcome to the Woodridge Audio Project. I'm David, or Dave if you prefer, from audioprojectcentral.com, and I'm hosting the Woodridge Audio Project. The Woodridge Audio Project aims to offer you a deeper look, or rather listen, into various aspects of the Woodridge College and Preparatory School. The first series of episodes will be focused on character profiling some of the staff members at the college and preparatory school for both informative and, I'm sure you will agree, inspirational purposes. Please do share the Woodridge Audio Project episodes with friends and family by sending episode links or news of the episodes to everyone you know in every way possible. Social media, email, WhatsApp, word of mouth, carrier pigeon, gossip, telepathy, and whatever else you may use. Please do click like for the episodes at whichever platform you are using to access them. For more information about Woodridge or to contact the team, visit www.woodridge.co.za. The guest for this episode is Mrs. Patti van der Ploeg, who is Head of Culture and a music teacher. The interview begins with Mrs. VDP's response to a question about her background and her journey that brought her to Woodridge.
Okay, so I've been teaching at school for 38 years at various schools. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. I've taught mainly in Gauteng, mainly music, but I was also a teacher of all subjects. I even taught in my youth gym and swimming and all sorts of things like that. So I've been involved on the sports side, but it's mainly my art and culture and particularly music. That's really where my passion lies. I've been head of departments at a number of schools and the head of department in music, basically, but also art and culture. And my joy and my strength is building up music departments. So I'm very lucky. I'm in a wonderful position where I get to put together a family. And that's the way I look at it. I'm a very family-orientated person and I'm a family-orientated leader. And so I love getting everybody together and working together and doing teamwork, etc. So with Woodridge, I'm loving it. I'm loving coming down to the Eastern Cape. As I said, I've been in Gauteng all my life. It's a completely different feeling down here. I think that's been my joy, actually, not getting stuck in traffic. I lived in Pretoria and I worked in Fourways in Joburg, and I used to leave home at 4:45 in the morning so that I wouldn't get into the crush of traffic. So this has been a joy. I get on the bus at Jeffreys Bay and it's like a blessing, so that's a little bit about me. As I say, I've taught all sorts of subjects, but my passion is my music.
Would you say that's quite a strong selling point for people in other provinces looking to send their children to schools that aren't so stuck in the hustle and bustle of the city? Because Woodridge is in a very scenic setting. Do you think that's a strong selling point for the school?
Absolutely. In marketing, we talk about the just noticeable difference. And that is an incredible selling point for Woodridge, the outdoor education. If I'd my life over again from the point of view of my children, of whom I've got 5, I would have brought them to a school like this because there's so much to offer here, particularly the outdoor education. And I think that is why, and at this time and at any time, to get the children out of the big smoke, as they call it, and send them down to a school where all sides of education matter. It's what I call blended learning or holistic learning, however you'd like to term it, but where it's a healthy mind, healthy body, healthy spirit. And the healthy mind, of course, with the academic offering here, healthy body because of this outdoor activity and the sport, but particularly the outdoor activity, which is Woodridge's difference. And then the healthy spirit with the cultural program that we offer. It's a wonderful place to send children. And again, with my emphasis on family, I have found that with the boarding school as it is now, I've worked in other boarding schools, and the hostel situation here is brilliant. There is such a feeling of family. Bottom line, it's just a wonderfully family-orientated, holistic approach to education.
Do I hear music in the background there?
You do hear music in the background. We have our music going on. I think there's a French horn lesson going on, and we have a piano lesson going on, and we have all sorts of lessons going on, and people running in and out. So odd little opening of the door, etc. That is the wonder here as well. We're very fortunate to be able to have music as a subject, drama as a subject, and fine art as a matric subject. And the children are encouraged to come and practice. We've just finished what we call cultural period, where all the music students go to various things, be it choir or wind band or whatever. And there's also other cultural activities like chess, etc., that are offered at the same, well, not at the same time, but as well as that. So this is our musical afternoon. That's why you're hearing all the music going on.
Would you be able to tell me something about yourself that nobody else at Woodridge might know about you that you would be happy to share on the record?
When I was 7, I jumped off the top of a slide in a park, and what transpired was I got a disease called Perthes hip disease of the hip, which was, and I was in those days, what they called leg irons or calipers for 3 years. Now, that was a nice teaching, but what I did and what my parents helped me to do is I swam. Every day. I was never allowed to put my weight on my leg, but I swam. And as a result, I swam and I played music. I played the piano, I played the violin, I played the guitar. So I started developing a very positive attitude at an early age, despite the fact that in a way, people would look at me, obviously, here was this funny person with this leg irons, etc. And there was the odd amount of bullying in that, but I managed to overcome that by being the best swimmer I could possibly be and being the best musician of that age that I could possibly be. And so when the time came to come out of those calipers, I hadn't lost time and I hadn't lost focus. And I was quite positive about everything. And as a result of that, when I come across children with challenges, I like to think that I can't say I understand every challenge, obviously not. But in a sense, I have been there. And so it's a case of I really managed to take what was a negative situation and I was taught to look for the positive. And that's followed me through my life. Even now, when we've had all this negative, I've tried to look for the positive. And it started back then with me with those leg irons. And it's colored my life, and I like to think in a good way. I just love Robin Williams, and he said, make life spectacular, or make your life spectacular. And that is such an important little thought. So even though things are negative, let's look for that good and let's make life spectacular.
Is that the favorite thing about your role, working with children and helping them see how to make life spectacular?
Yes, I really feel that. My general teaching philosophy when it comes to music is love music for life. You don't have to be the best musician. You don't have to be the best at this. What you've got to do is find the love. And love, family, all those aspects for me, are very, very important. I've taught children, for example, hard of hearing children, who obviously struggle hearing music. But one little girl was desperate to be involved in my choir at one of my schools. And so what she did was she put her head against the back of the piano so she could feel the vibrations. And she loved it. Now, that's what it's all about, is giving the children, or my treasures, the wherewithal to love what they're doing. Yes, they've got to try hard. I believe absolutely in a good work ethic and a skill. Going out into this world, one has to be an out-of-the-box thinker nowadays. One has to be creative. One has to find one's own, or don't limit oneself, but find one's own limits. You don't stay in a little box. Be creative. Think about how you can do things better, but have a good work ethic. And if you have a skill, develop that skill. That's what I try to do in all my teaching. That's what I try to get children to realize, that everybody can do things. And if you can't do it yet, that's what I always say. They say, oh, Mom, I can't do it. And I always say, yet. And that's a very important thing. Be, again, the positivity. Yes, you might have to work it. Maybe you haven't accomplished something now, but it's coming. So be positive. You haven't got it yet, but you will. And it's also the same with the staff with whom I work, because I'm very fortunate to be the director of art and culture here. And so therefore I do have people that fall under my umbrella, shall we say, being a head of department. And I use the analogy with the way I view leadership is like a dog sled. And there's all the dogs are pulling, and I like to think of myself as the husky and the left side at the front pulling the sleigh along, not the person that stands on top going mush, mush, mush. That's the way I like to think of leadership, and that's the way I like to think of teaching as well. You lead by example, you show by example. On that point, in our music department, when we ask our children to perform, we as a staff perform too. Because we don't like to ask our children to do something that we are not prepared to do ourselves. And by doing that, you're not showing the children up, you're showing that you're prepared to try. You're prepared to get out there and do something. And then they realize that they can also do this.
Do you have a favorite book or a film, documentary or podcast or anything that you'd like to recommend to listeners?
I've got lots, but I know our time is limited. But I know some people go, ugh, when I say, but my octopus teacher was the most wonderful documentary, and that's me. All God's creatures are important. All God's creatures have something to show us, tell us, and share with us. And I learned so much from that positive experience. So that, documentary-wise, that did so much, especially at this time again, where you can say, look, there's this little creature who actually shows in its own natural habitat kindness, recognition, all those things. How more can we do that? So that was the one. And then, of course, as I said, Robin Williams, one of my favorites. And, of course, Dead Poets Society as a teacher. The most incredible book. One of his sayings from there as well, no matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change this world, and good words and good ideas can change this world. And so that I felt so strongly about. I mean, as I say, there's lots of musicals. People are going to say, but you're a musician. Yeah, but your healthy spirit comes from reading, comes from seeing things like that documentary. And I thought, instead of just going on about music, let's look at other aspects as well. So those two I recommend highly. They've influenced my life.
Patti, beyond the very inspirational things you've said so far, is there anything else you would like to add to conclude the interview? Maybe something to say directly to your students or to your colleagues, or just to a general public out there who's come out of a fairly challenging 2020. We still have some trials and tribulations ahead of us. You've really encapsulated some motivational thinking for me. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
One of my heroes, is Bishop Desmond Tutu. And he said, do your little bit of good where you are, because it's those little bits of good that overwhelm the world. And I think if we can all try, wherever we are, do our little bit of good, that is going to so improve everything. So positive thinking and doing good. Be kind. Everybody's going through a crisis. Everybody. A different crisis to you, perhaps, but everybody's there. So do your best. Think positively. Be kind. And do something, just something good every day if you can.
And that brings us to the end of the interview. Thanks for listening, and please do remember to share the episodes and relevant social media posts with your friends and family, and like the episodes at whichever social media platform you found them on. If you have any follow-up questions, head over to www.woodridge.co.za, where you will find the contact details for the school, and you can contact me at www.audioprojectcentral.com. Welcome to the Woodridge Audio Project. I'm David, or Dave if you prefer, from audioprojectcentral.com, and I'm hosting the Woodridge Audio Project. The Woodridge Audio Project aims to offer you a deeper look, or rather listen.